I'm just having so much fun with this.
If there is one band in the history of rock music that has absolutely nothing left to prove, it is the Rolling Stones. Just think about it for a moment. For more than 6 decades, they have been at the very heart of popular music. They have sold hundreds of millions of records, filled stadiums across the world, and written songs that have become the soundtrack to entire generations. Their place in music history was secured long ago. Even if they had stopped making new music years ago, their legacy would remain untouchable. But what makes the Rolling Stones so remarkable is that they seem completely uninterested in living off their past achievements. 2 years ago, they surprised both critics and fans with Hackney Diamonds, an album widely praised as their finest collection of new material in decades. It reminded everyone that despite their age, the creative spark was still burning brightly. Now they are back with Foreign Tongues, and somehow, against all expectations, this new record may be even stronger. That is quite a statement when you consider the ages of the musicians involved. Mick Jagger is now well into his 80s, Keith Richards is not far behind, and Ronniewood is right there with him. At this stage in life, many artists become reflective. Their music often focuses on nostalgia, mortality, and looking back on the road they have traveled. The Rolling Stones, however, have chosen a different route. Rather than sounding like a band preparing for one final curtain call, they sound like musicians who are still chasing the excitement that first drew them to rock and roll all those years ago. From the opening moments, Foreign Tongues bursts with energy, confidence, and a refreshing sense of freedom. It never feels like an album trying to keep up with modern trends. It is not desperately seeking approval from younger audiences, nor is it chasing streaming numbers or social media moments. Instead, it embraces everything that has always made the Rolling Stones great. Rock and roll, blues, rhythm and blues, a touch of swaggering funk, and above all, songs overflowing with personality. One of the album's greatest strengths is its ability to balance nostalgia with relevance. Many veteran bands struggle to achieve this. Some become trapped by their own history, endlessly repeating familiar formulas, while others abandon their identity in an effort to sound contemporary. The Stones avoid both mistakes. Foreign Tongues sounds unmistakably like a Rolling Stones album, yet it never feels dated. A great deal of credit belongs to producer Andrew Watt. Having already worked wonders on Hackney Diamonds, Watt once again demonstrates a deep understanding of the band's strengths. His production feels modern without sacrificing authenticity. The guitars are sharp and vibrant, the rhythm section drives every track forward with purpose, and each instrument is given room to breathe within the mix. Most impressive of all is Mick Jagger's vocal performance. No, he does not sound exactly as he did in the 1970s, but that was never the point. What remains intact is his character, charisma, and unmistakable attitude. There is still an energy in his voice that many singers half his age would struggle to match. Yet Foreign Tongues is not simply an album about proving that veteran musicians can still play. There is a deeper layer running throughout the record. While the Rolling Stones are often remembered as rock's ultimate rebels, people sometimes overlook the fact that they have also produced some of the sharpest social observations in the genre's history. Songs such as Gimme Shelter captured the fears and uncertainties of their era with remarkable accuracy. That spirit quietly reappears here. Throughout the album, Jagger occasionally turns his attention towards the modern world. He does so without becoming preachy or heavy-handed. He is not delivering political lectures or attempting to reinvent himself as a protest singer. Instead, he relies on humor, irony, and subtle observation. One of the strongest examples is Ringing Hollow. On the surface, the song drifts along with a warm and relaxed atmosphere. Yet beneath that comforting exterior lies a thoughtful reflection on contemporary America. The contrast between its soothing melody and underlying tension creates one of the album's most compelling moments. It serves as a reminder that the most effective social commentary often arrives disguised as something far more pleasant. A similar approach can be found on Mr. Charm. Here, Jagger is playful, mischievous, and wonderfully sarcastic. The song contains some of the album's sharpest lyrics, including a cheeky jab at Elon Musk. The humor works because it feels completely natural. It is classic Mick Jagger, witty, irreverent, and delivered with a knowing smile. Thankfully, Foreign Tongues never becomes a political album. Those moments add flavor rather than dominate the experience. At its core, this remains an album about the sheer joy of making music. And perhaps that is the most striking thing about it. There is an infectious enthusiasm running through nearly every track. While many artists of a similar age release records filled with reflection and melancholy, the Rolling Stones sound as though they are still having the time of their lives. They do not sound tired, they do not sound sentimental, and they certainly do not sound ready to retire. Instead, they sound energized, inspired, and eager to keep moving forward. The album is further strengthened by an impressive collection of guest musicians. Paul McCartney contributes bass to Covered in You, creating another memorable collaboration between two of Britain's most iconic musical institutions. Steve Winwood adds rich organ textures to Jealous Lover, bringing warmth and depth to the arrangement. Meanwhile, Robert Smith of The Cure provides backing vocals and synthesizer work on selected tracks, embracing the album's playful spirit. What is particularly impressive is that none of these guest appearances overshadow the band itself. The spotlight remains firmly on Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. Their partnership continues to rank among the greatest songwriting collaborations in rock history. More than 60 years after they first began creating music together, the chemistry between them remains undeniable. Behind the drum kit, Steve Jordan continues the difficult task of succeeding the late Charlie Watts. Replacing a musician of Watts' stature is virtually impossible, yet Jordan manages to bring fresh energy while respecting the groove and feel that defined the Rolling Stones for generations. Fans will also appreciate hearing one final contribution from Charlie Watts on Hit Me in the Head, a fierce and energetic track packed with raw power and punk-inspired aggression. Among the album's highlights, Jealous Lover stands out as a likely fan favourite. The song recalls classic Stones ballads such as Wild Horses, blending heartfelt melodies with contemporary production. Jagger's falsetto, rarely heard in recent years, cuts beautifully through the arrangement. Combined with its memorable chorus, driving rhythm, and undeniable emotional pull, it possesses all the qualities of a standout single. Ultimately, Foreign Tongues serves as a powerful reminder that rock and roll has never been about age. It is about attitude. It is about passion. It is about continuing to create long after the world expects you to stop. This album does not attempt to reinvent music, nor does it seek to rewrite the rulebook. What it achieves is arguably far more impressive. It proves that creativity has no expiry date. It proves that authenticity will always matter more than trends. And it proves that the Rolling Stones remain capable of making music that feels vibrant, exciting, and unmistakably alive. At a stage in their career when many artists become focused on protecting their legacy, the Rolling Stones continue to do what they have always done best. They make great rock and roll records. More than 60 years after their remarkable journey began, Foreign Tongues delivers one simple but powerful message. The Rolling Stones are far from finished.